Welcome to the inaugural episode of Legal League Consulting presents The Law Street in association with ET Now. This series is focused on profiling the country's top legal minds. Newly formed law firm Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas derives its heritage from long-standing legal giant Amarchand Mangaldas and Cyril Shroff. We spoke to managing partner Cyril Shroff about successfully carrying forward a legal legacy in the face of a restructuring. Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas is a full-service law firm whose primary practice areas include corporate services, capital markets, banking and finance, and dispute resolution. To top off its 100-year heritage and existing talent base, the firm has also put in place an external advisory board which includes luminaries across industry verticals. And now I'm joined by one of the country's leading corporate attorneys and managing partner of Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas. Mr. Shroff, initial question for you. As one of the most experienced corporate attorneys in the country, you're often in the company of similar highly experienced corporate attorneys. What's it like working with them and at times being pitted against them?
I think this is the essence of being a professional. And what you enjoy most about being a professional is being pitted against the best. Both and having them on the same side as well as on the opposite side.
Sure.
Because that's when your skills really get sharpened. So I've enjoyed that journey for the last over 30 years, not only with some of the best attorneys and corporate lawyers and counsel in India, but also internationally. And that's something which has really helped in my own personal growth. And many of the learnings are then something which I then applied to building the firm to where it is today.
You mentioned 30 years of experience. Clearly the landscape has very much changed. So what does it take to stay competitive in this crowded environment?
You have to continuously reinvent yourself. The traditional method of creative destruction, so you've got to keep looking at all the various things that which could be the basis of your current success, but are not going to be relevant tomorrow. I think it's true that what got you here won't get you there. Right. And this is something which we do very well as a firm.
Let's talk about your legacy for a moment. Now, coming from Amarchand Mangaldas, Cyril Shroff, coming from that firm is of course one of the first to institutionalize management structures in a formal way. That said, tell us more about the rationale behind those decisions and how they affected the bottom line of the firm.
So 2017 would represent the 100 years of the legacy of Amarchand Mangaldas, which was founded by my grandfather. And I'm looking forward to that, because I too believe that in the sort of current form of Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas, we've been able to transition the legacy very seamlessly. And we've reinvented ourselves multiple times in this 100-year journey. I am the third generation, but to the extent I know about a lot of the previous iterations, at every stage the firm has reinvented itself. And it's almost like a cycle. Every 8 to 10 years, you sort of reinvent yourself all over again.
One thing we've really noticed is the institutionalization of technology, pan-India, the branding of services. Tell us more about how those have evolved.
After my father passed away in '94, and then I sort of formally took charge as a managing partner. And around that time was when I think the first institutionalization and modernization of the firm started. So we had a fantastic platform to build on at that time. We were already a very well recognized firm with a terrific reputation for quality.
Absolutely.
And the sort of journey began at that time. And I think it really set the role model of what I would call the modern Indian law firm. I think the real credit was the opportunity that was created by the liberalization in the early 90s.
Right.
When India was thrown open for business, it was very clear that the old structures are not going to survive. The amount of work that was coming in and the sophistication that was required a complete remodeling of the professional services firm. So that was a fantastic opportunity. And that's on the demand side. On the supply side, I think a lot of new law colleges were coming up, creating very employable, commercially savvy lawyers. So the demand-supply gap just fell into place, and we seized that opportunity. So we started campus recruitment. I used to go every year for campus recruitment, and a lot of the people whom I've recruited then are still with the firm. So it was a very MBA style recruitment process that was brought in.
So let's fast forward now to modern day times. Your Delhi office has been in existence for just over a year now, and you're a pan-India firm. So how do you manage business development efforts, knowledge sharing, etc. across your different offices so that you have a really one firm culture?
So it's very, very important for us to be a single national firm. We don't want to be a collection of offices. We want to be one firm at multiple touch points. And that comes down to two things. It comes down to a common value system, and it comes down to a common culture. So the structures are overlaid on top of that. The real conceptual foundation of one firm is a common culture and a common value system. So we are focusing very heavily on almost on a daily basis. We drill it down into the firm for what are the core values or what do we stand for. One vision, collaboration, respect, humility, ambition, all of these things. So this firm, whether you're in office A or office B, it's all about everybody believing in the same thing. That's when unified firm starts.
And how do you maintain the balance between the operational responsibilities, being a managing partner, and then, your bread and butter, being a trained lawyer?
It's hard, but I think it's also fun. And I have a lot of help. There are a lot of partners and support folks in the firm who help me with it. And as you go older with age and experience, you learn how to prioritize, and you also learn how to shed what is not important.
Sure. Well, given your experience, share some of your wisdom with us. We're seeing a lot of consolidation in the industry, but then again, there's a lot of fragmentation in the Indian legal landscape as well. How do you see things shaking out going forward?
See, I think the modern Indian legal market, I think it's about 15, 16 years old. So if the market were a person, it's behaving like a teenager at this point of time.
Well put.
Yeah. So it's going through those pains. I see consolidation happening. And the simple reason is the market will want it. Clients are demanding complicated, they have complicated problems. They require multiple skills from different departments of the firm, and only a big firm can do that. Smaller firms may have excellent practitioners, but they tend to be narrow. I have nothing against them. It's just that the market is inevitably drifting towards consolidation and creating bigger and more diverse institutions.
Mr. Shroff, thank you for your time and for your insights, and we certainly wish you continued success.
Thank you.
It's time for a short break on Legal League Consulting presents The Law Street in association with ET Now. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Legal League Consulting presents The Law Street in association with ET Now. DSK Legal has firmly established its position as one of the leading law firms in the country across practice areas, while maintaining its focused commercial orientation. Managing partner Anand Desai shared his perspective on the strategic management decisions that have led to the firm being recognized by not only credible industry publications, but also by peers. DSK Legal has enjoyed phenomenal growth since its inception in 2001 with just 7 lawyers on its payroll. With an international client base and niche industry knowledge, the firm is known for applying global know-how in the Indian context. Thank you for joining us on the show, Mr. Desai. Pleasure to have you. So if we take a look back in time, you started the firm in 2001 with just 7 lawyers on board. Your key practice areas have expanded. There are over 100 lawyers on board today. What's that evolution been like? How did it become possible?
So we started the firm as a member of the Anderson Legal Network, a large international law network. We were a small firm at that time. The intent was to practice what you're really good at and not go into areas we are not that good at. Anderson shut down, but we continued our journey. And I think several practice areas which we do cover, we are good at. If we are not, we admit to a client we are not good at this, and we actually get in external help or refer the client to somebody else. I think that's been a good part as to what we've been doing. And I think as time goes on, the passion shows, the desire to actually help a client in whatever way we can, do the right thing by the client rather than oneself, is a big factor going forward.
Absolutely. Now, getting into some of the service areas you cover, which include everything from corporate M&A, real estate, intellectual property, information technology, there's quite a wide range here. But my understanding is that you don't have any formal marketing plan or strategy in place, and all of this growth has been more or less organic. Is that right?
It has been organic. To a large extent, it's been my own background. I've done a lot of practice areas because clients have come to us with those. We have specialists in certain areas, and that helps. And I think the range is quite wide, but the good part is the transaction work coupled with the disputes work. I think that helps a lot because you can actually see a contract being enforced or defended.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, you've got a corporate forensics practice. That's a bit untraditional for a law firm. That's been a conscious decision on your part, on the part of DSK Legal. So how has that practice contributed to overall growth of the firm?
So we could actually see that a lot of corporate fraud is happening.
Absolutely.
And as lawyers, we have limited inputs and limited abilities to address it. So a gentleman retired as the Director General Police of Maharashtra, who I knew, and we got together. And that helped because on our own, it's not possible to get into that area. And currently, we see a lot of growth opportunity, both because of Foreign Corrupt Practices Act in the US, UK Anti-Bribery Act in the UK, and even India, where we are seeing corporate fraud. It needs to be addressed. There are errant employees who do things they should not do, etc. So we believe it's a very good addition to our practice, and we do hope it grows well.
Well, another thing that's sort of under the umbrella of your practice is media and entertainment. In fact, you have been advising Amir Khan for over 2 decades. Then you've made an appearance in the Salman Khan case and helped strategize his defense for his most recent acquittal. Explain what the dynamics are like when handling and managing a celebrity client versus, say, a more traditional corporate client.
So it attracts a lot of media attention.
Naturally.
It has a lot of vulnerability that the client is subjected to. The client gets inputs from all kinds of people who think they're doing right by the client. So I think the entire approach has to be a little more sensitive. I think we tend to be more, not only the legal part, but also on the PR part, contributing in terms of doing a sort of overall management as to how the transaction gets handled or the litigation gets handled. So there are many moving parts, I believe, in a celebrity case than you see in other cases. We also have a lot of attention drawn by the media to what they do. Views are formed, emotions sometimes.
Scrutiny.
That's right, they go up. So I think it just takes a little more time and attention and being, again, honest to the client and doing the best you can for him.
Sure. Let's talk about your joint responsibilities here at the firm. So you're managing partner, you're the face of the firm, but then there's your core competency as a lawyer. So how do you balance the two?
It's been easier than I thought. A lot of my time goes in client work. Most of our people have, over time, understood what they should be doing and contribute towards the growth of the firm. I think we have a lot of passion in our people. We have good relationships amongst ourselves, which helps a lot. And basically the desire for excellence that we try and inculcate in all the youngsters we have, where we want them to actually grow and be outstanding lawyers themselves. So coordination, I think, is a better way to put it than managing as an organization.
So if you had to sum it up, how would you describe DSK Legal's USP, first of all? And then second of all, what's next for the firm in terms of expansion plans internationally, for example, a succession plan, 5-year growth strategy? We want to hear it.
I think the USP is that we limit ourselves to what we do. Our response times are very, very good for clients. I think we're very sensitive to client needs and address the business approach rather than a strictly legal approach. And that's really what clients are looking for, a practical answer within the law rather than theoretical answers.
Sure.
I think also we are perceived as being trusted for clients in terms of whatever they tell us, the way we do our work for them. I believe we'll keep growing in practice areas we are good at. If we get the right people to lead a practice area or somebody develops a practice area in the firm, that's what we'll really focus on.
Well, Mr. Desai, thank you for sharing your insights with us, and we wish you continued success.
Thank you so much.
It's time for a short break on Legal League Consulting presents The Law Street in association with ET Now. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Legal League Consulting presents The Law Street in association with ET Now. Managing partner Pravin Anand gave a fascinating overview of developments that helped broaden the scope of intellectual property right law as a legal practice domestically. And we took a deeper dive into the groundbreaking initiatives he's rallied behind to help demystify IP law among legal and layman minds alike. Established in 1979, Anand and Anand is a full-service intellectual property law firm widely regarded as a leading authority in all aspects of the IP domain. The firm offers a full suite of end-to-end IP solutions and is armed with an in-house anti-counterfeiting and anti-piracy team designed to help provide clients with full legal protection for their brand. So Anand and Anand has been in existence for nearly a century. And as the domestic legal landscape has evolved, so has the firm. So give us a brief sense of your growth story and some of the ups and downs you've encountered along the way.
Well, the firm started off as a very humble firm with my grandfather in 1923 with a single person. My father joined the firm in 1954. An uncle of mine joined in 1962. So when I joined the profession, we were just about 4 or 5 of us, 4 or 5 attorneys.
And a family business, essentially.
And essentially family. And with maybe a handful of foreign clients, mostly domestic clients, and mostly trademark work. Very little patent and complex technology work. And that's all changed because now we are nearly 100 lawyers and staff of 300. And so numbers have grown. The offices have grown, the office space in any office has grown, the clients and revenues obviously have gone up hugely. And most important, I think, is our own role. Our own role has kind of shifted from a role when we were on one side and the government or the IP offices or the courts were on the other side. And now we kind of see ourselves more as a part of an ecosystem where we are responsible for the change, being affected by it. So it's almost like from a single cellular organism to a tissue, to a live tissue.
To a living, breathing object.
Exactly. So there's been a lot of change.
Well, sir, I'd like to talk about your area of expertise in particular. So if we look at intellectual property law, your thoughts on how it's evolved domestically and what's really been responsible for the transformation?
I think the main reason for the transformation has to do with all the scientific community in this country kind of waking up to innovation and creativity. It's a very creative society, and there was a time when people felt they were creating. For example, from 1972, when the Patents Act came into force, to 1995, when the TRIPS agreement was being signed up.
Right.
It's a period of 23 years. R&D expenditure went up 50 times in the country, but patent filing remained a static 3,500 to 4,000. It was like a straight line, right, like a dead man's curve.
Completely static.
And one would wonder why. It wasn't as if people weren't creating new things and inventing or innovating, but it's just that they weren't applying for patents or for intellectual property protections because they didn't have faith, confidence, and trust in the system. So very often a person would come to you with an invention, and you'd find out, why he hasn't applied, and the time has gone by. It's already got prior published, and you say, he'd shrug his shoulders and say, "What will happen? What will I get?" And he'd point to examples of people who've failed in the past. And that's all changed because once the TRIPS agreement came along and there was so much of publicity, all the scientists and the creative community, if you might call it, which may include artists and lyric writers and music composers and people who wrote computer programs and all of them put together, they kind of woke up to the fact that here we have a system which works, and we can stop people who copy, we can probably claim damages, and when you see a neighbor getting a result, you want to do the same. So that's happened, and it's happened all across the country.
Well, to what extent do you think judgments in foreign countries have helped accelerate the growth of IP law here in India?
I think intellectual property is a very kind of supranatural national concept. It's beyond any particular. It's transnational, and that's why we've recognized, even in this country, if you take a simple thing like trademarks, well-known trademarks are protected even if they haven't been used in India or registered in India, on the basis of a concept called trans-border reputation, which means that the courts have recognized that reputation from another country can spill over to this country because of tourist travel and so on. And that concept really shows how all the countries have been connected, and the information systems of which are, everything's on the internet, is all accessed by people here. There's a free exchange of information, blogs and people writing all the time, and that's accelerated the change hugely.
And sir, you have multiple responsibilities at the firm. As managing partner, that includes several operational duties. You're a rainmaker yourself. The management style, the corporate culture is something that you do have to maintain. So parts of your job that are most rewarding and parts that are perhaps most challenging.
Yeah, I think I'm essentially I love the litigation hat that I wear. I love to go to court every day, every working day, and I'm not particularly good at the marketing aspect. I just, except for the limited conferences that I attend, I'm sure there are better people who market themselves much better. I'm good at mentoring, which means a lot of the younger people in the firm have a lot of questions to ask the whole day. And that's good, because we believe very strongly in our firm in training people and allowing them to grow. And I think one particular feature of the firm has been to try and innovate newer stuff and to get the younger people to grow and to give them an opportunity to perform. So if a young person is arguing in court, I will, if I enter the court a little late, I'll sit next to him. I will not take over. So the fact that everybody is given an opportunity to grow to his full potential, that's been responsible to a great extent for the multidimensional growth of the firm.
Well, sir, thank you so much for your time and your insights, and we wish you continued success.
Thank you.
Well, that's a wrap on this episode of Legal League Consulting presents The Law Street in association with ET Now. In the next episode, we will get in conversation with rising stars in the legal world who have taken the helm at their individual firms and brought a vetted yet vibrant perspective to the larger Indian legal landscape.